hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. The world is waking up, and this is the tipping point.
Ladies and gentlemen, Scott McKay here in the tipping point. Actually, the tipping point was last night. Today's Patriot Street Fighter. If you hadn't seen that show last night, Monday night, you might want to check it out. We had a great guest, and it's the concerns of Hollywood, and actually somebody who grew up there as a kid, father in the industry, and himself in the industry for decades. One of the good guys, turned out never be influenced in the wrong way. So if you want to see Ron Moss, many of you folks saw this guy on the TV show Bold and Beautiful. He was a handsome guy with the long hair and a suit. All the girls in the world swooned over. That's who Ron is. Become a friend of mine the last couple of years. We did a show with him last night talking about that. The scene in Hollywood after actor, director, writer Rob Reiner was murdered, him and his wife, by, I believe, his own son. So check that episode out. We got a follow-up episode here today. And this was an episode that was kind of caught me by surprise because it caught my, I guess, the bee issue wasn't a passion of mine necessarily, even though I own bees out of my ranch. But we know in the world that these cabal powers are trying to destroy the bee population. Because you do that, you're basically eliminating all life on the planet. Because again, things will continue to grow in the plant kingdom. If we have bees, if we don't, we're in real trouble. And they've been systematically destroying them. And we had on Brett Knudsen here last month, I believe it was, educating us on a creation of a quantum technology called a pure wave cell. And these cells have been actually given to beekeepers around the world, qualified beekeepers, because this technology causes a lot of amazing things with the bee communities, tripling the size of them. The honey they produce is the best honey I've ever had in my life, in the whole world. I got a cupboard full of this kind of honey. It's unbelievable. So, and we had a great response from our audience, and we are doing a follow-up on exactly how much you, the Patriot Street Fighter Nation, has helped this mission, this movement of protecting and enhancing the bee population in the world. It's a direct weapon against the cabal powers that are trying to destroy it. So let's bring in Brent. Many of you saw him in that last episode. Brent, great to have you here again. And even more exciting was the response that the Patriot Street Fighter Nation brought to this mission that you launched. So let's first of all, good to have you here. Thanks for coming on again. And let's talk about what the results of all that looked like. And maybe for some of the folks who do not know about your amazing technology, we cover a little bit of that ground too.
Yeah, that's well, first of all, again, Scott, thanks for having me back on. And as you were just speaking about the last time we were on with you, where we started to get in and explaining it from the beginning of, what the pure wave cell is, where the technology came from, and, a bit of my background and all those things. What happened was your incredible audience, and thanks through you bringing it to them, they had just tremendously supported us on the purchasing of honey and pure wave cells and what it's doing in their lives. And so what we thought when you asked us that we could come back on and speak to everybody of what's going on, is that we'd show that today what their support is actually doing, how it's changing beekeepers' ways about going about what they're doing, what it's doing for the bees, what it's allowing them to expand, because it's a commercially expensive thing to do when you're doing beekeeping. And I always said, to save bees. To save the bees, we got to save the beekeepers, because they control like 97% of all bees. So that was where we're coming from with the mission, is to really look after them, thereby expanding it out. And now we're all over the world, and we'll get into showing you our bee map, where we have all the beekeepers all over the world now. And I thought your audience would really like to see what their support has been doing. So thank you again, very much so, out to your audience.
Well, we're honored to be part of it. It's pretty exciting for me to hear the response was so great, and that and first of all, 97% of the bees are managed by beekeepers in the world. That's incredible. I mean, wow. What would the world be like if we didn't have the beekeepers out there when there's this assault going on, trying to wipe them out by all the chemicals, chemtrails, and all that? So yeah, let's look at that. What exactly that response that happened after we did that show? By the way, pretty exciting to hear. We mentioned Mike Jaco, Mike and Tracy Joe. I'd talked to them about this amazing company, and it's pretty cool because they caught the passion and got behind this bee movement too. So that's pretty exciting. So I think we have
No,
some.
they did. They did, and they had us on, and again, through you, to them, their audience really stepped up as well. And so what it is that we're finding that out there, the people, if they see what you're doing and see that response, they really step up. And but it's through you that we're allowed with trust to get to the audience, and that's the important thing, is that people can count on what we're doing. So yeah, what we can do today, and it's depending on how you see this, we could start off showing what the pure wave cell is again.
That's great.
That way people can then get caught up on that, and then we can show you and go, okay, now that you've seen that, let's go to the real people and show you what's going on there.
Yeah, that'd be great. Let's do that, because that video is incredibly informative.
Okay.
Welcome to the world of inventions for energy medicine. I'm Bee Broda. According to the Canadian Association of Professional Apiculturists, Canada lost almost 50% of their bee population in 2022. Researchers at the University of Waterloo feel insecticides are compromising the bee's immune system. Dr. Magda Havis, Professor Emerita at Trent University School of the Environment, believes magnetic fields also play an important role in the health and wellness of the honeybee population.
We did some research at Trent University where we were studying the effects of radiofrequency radiation on the bees. We had some beehives at a farm and exposed them to current household items that we have that emit wireless radiation. One of the things we noticed is that the bees started coming out of the hive very, very quickly.
You look at their behaviour, they're all just quite happily, they're not running around, they're kind of very settled, they're fanning, they're keeping the place cool and protecting. As these ones are running up and down at the entrance. The sounds here is not normal.
Dr. Havis is participating in a long-term research study on the use of geomagnetic fields to enhance insect and human immune systems and negate the effects of environmental pollution that may be causing the collapse of the honeybee population. This research is based upon a geometric array of 12 high-intensity magnets that are encased inside a hard enclosure to create a pure wave cell. The opposing polarities of the magnets create a spiral vortex that emanate outwards in all directions. This spiral pattern can be observed with magnetic viewing film. Liquid ferrofluid placed in a dish on top of the pure wave cell shows the invisible, evenly spaced magnetic lines rising upwards. This is an internal view of the magnets. A pure wave cell can be used to control the growth of pathogens. The vortex suppresses bacterial infestation. Spores grown in a petri dish that were not exposed to the magnet shows a proliferation of fungal growth. A study has been completed at Pathogenia food laboratories to determine the efficiency to reduce pathogens in food. Brewer's yeast, E. coli, Staphylococcus, and Listeria were added to meat and fruit and then treated for 5 minutes on the magnetic disc. Ground chicken and raspberries were chosen for inoculation. This study demonstrates 3 forms of Listeria were not reduced in the chicken, but showed almost a 50% reduction in the raspberries. Surprisingly, 1 form of brewer's yeast grew 50% faster in the meat, while another was reduced a similar amount in the fruit. The various forms of E. coli were eliminated in the raspberries. And all forms of Staphylococcus have been significantly reduced. When you immerse food inside a pure wave, there are many examples of how it can prolong the shelf life. Here, cauliflower remains fresh after several days, while unexposed control samples show signs of food spoilage. Research on honey is carried out here.
The first year we had 10 magnets and we were quite happy with it. Last fall we ended up with 30 magnets in the 1B yard.
In this yard here, there's about 30 hives. This yard did not get the discs, and when I came in to unpack the hives, half the yard was dead, and the half that survived, there were barely any bees, and they were not looking good at all. And now in this yard, we wintered 30 hives in here. All 30 got the magnetic disc. When I unpacked it, all 30 were alive and overflowing with bees to the point where I had to split almost every hive in this yard. But it's swarming because they've run out of room. Like, it's just a super strong hive.
Dr. Havas feels that the magnets are improving the immune system of the honeybee as they move through the pure wave magnetic field while foraging for nectar in the farms and forest. Many beekeepers have great success with the magnets, not only having a healthy hive, but they have found an increase in the yield of honey. Education plays an important role with the company that produces the magnets. They organize workshops called 4RBs to teach a new generation of potential beekeepers how to plant wildflower seeds in open pastures to help support the health and wellness of our insect pollinators. For more information on how you can help save the bees, visit 4rbs.com.
That's pretty amazing, man. That's truly amazing to see something like that. Yeah, and I wondered why my bees swarmed last year. Like, where did these guys go, man? I've been keeping it to different times, honey water, sugar water, when it's a little sparse here in Texas. And still, I'm like, well, where'd my bees go? So maybe this is a way we'll be able to keep them home this year.
Yeah, they like a healthy environment, right? Is kind of what they're sensitive to.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to mention that study we were talking about was completed over half a year ago. So that 3-year study got completed, and there was and it's on our website. But there's no question about, because we had not just one but we had several beekeepers in many different scenarios, and so Dr. Havas finished that. For anybody that doesn't know who Dr. Havas is, she's a specialist in like a 5G and dirty electricity and all that stuff. So you can look her up. That's her background. So this really confirmed that we were getting the results we were looking for, rather than just sort of, hey, it happened here and didn't there. So I just wanted to mention that that's done. And then, of course, the pure wave cell has gone on to, help all kinds of people themselves for different things with the food cleaning and different and mild for inflammation and things like that. So that happened. But then a great thing that came out of there was the honey. Now that you were referring to that in the beginning, so out of those hives, this was not my intent going in. We went and said, listen, those hives that have the pure wave cell, I'd like to purchase the honey out of those hives for us, and I'll pay you more than anybody else would for that honey. So therefore, supporting them again financially, which is important. So then we started to do that, and then we took that honey, and then we did a cream process so that it's a cream honey where it's not heated, so it stays raw, and it won't crystallize, and it'll stay that way under the proper conditions for years and years. Actually, it gets better. I've got honey from 3 years ago. It's better. It's an aging thing that I guess it just seems to me to get better. But that being said, it has super strong bees that have produced that honey, and then we cream it to keep it in that state. And then we do another thing. Because of the technology I am in, we also treat the honey afterwards with an energizer. We call it the Chrysalis E, and what it does is it super energizes it with a frequency base about 7.3 hertz, 7.43 hertz, and then we show that in our honey video is how that energizes it. So you're getting the best product you can possibly have in honey and put into your body. So I just wanted to add that in there for you.
What are those health benefits? I mean, I go to the cupboard every morning when I come out in the kitchen, and the first thing I either reach for my greens and my honey, or I grab a spoonful of the honey. I know, it's obviously important for my health, but I can't. I'd like to eat a jar a morning. Its stuff is that damn good, and I know people fight that. Everybody fights it. Like, how do I not clean this jar out like in 15 minutes because it's that good? What are those specific health benefits? I don't remember from our last show. It'd be good to remind me and the new audience what the benefits are of their honey.
Well, the first thing that you said, so with this honey, do not put it in hot water. So don't use it for a sweetener on your tea or coffee because it'll break the enzymes down. And it's use some other sweetener for those things, but make sure you do what you're doing, which is eat it, spoonful. What it does, really good for blood sugar on balancing things like that, because a lot of people through high blood sugars and different things and stuff they're taking in. So it's proven to have balance there. Also, gut health. It's proven to really be effective for things for people that have digestive problems. And then honey has all kinds of other benefits that I could list here. That just in general, that honey is really good for you. Things for your skin. It also on the surface, things like burns, stuff like that. It's really, really good as a surface healer. It's proven to do those things. But by putting it into your overall balancing of how you're functioning, and especially on sugar levels, it's really good. And that can attribute to so many other things. They talk about now mixing it, taking the honey, mixing it with garlic or mixing it with cinnamon. Those do other things. So it can be a contributor that way. And that gets into then heart health. But there's all kinds of information out there if you're mixing a good honey with garlic or, cinnamon, things like that, right? Just as recipes of what that can do. So, but what we do know is that we can tell everybody you're getting a super quality honey that basically the properties that assimilate in your body as effectively as it can. So that's what we know it can do.
Well, I know, I bought a case of that stuff. I think you said the best price on that honey was
you did.
Buy a case is a pretty big discount. It just made sense to buy a case of that, and stacking them in the cupboard and in the pantry and looking in there every time you open it, like, look at all that honey I got. So,
it keeps. You don't have to worry about it going bad, Scott. That's the other thing is there's some foods that you have to rush it. As long as you keep that at a decent temperature, like you don't freeze it. You don't want to freeze it, or it doesn't go into high heat. Just normal. That honey put away, that'll last you for years and years and years. Like there's no problem. It's not going to go bad. It's not going to crystallize. It'll just be there for you. So yeah, buy the case. A lot of people buy the case with us. It's the best value. And then it stocks them up for 6 months or a year, depending on their usage.
Speaking of
But what
stock,
we thought,
speaking of stock,
sorry?
I got to throw this in there. The first thing that popped in my head when you said that is stocking. What a great stocking stuffer. I mean, you got to buy,
Oh,
look at
yeah.
all the crap that we as a nation buy each other. We spend money. I mean, for me, the one I abhor going into a shopping mall or a store, number one, but to have to buy something for somebody, that's just for myself. For somebody else, holidays,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I get anxiety thinking, oh, God, it's another holiday coming. I can't believe I got to go through my process and get shit for people that I don't even know what they would want. And you always think about, you're like, oh, this kind of sucks. Like, I wonder why he bought me this stupid thing, right? And it
Mhm,
just hit me.
mhm.
What a stocking stuffer. Because again, you think people be thinking having something like this in a stocking, why the hell they must have needed some reason to put something in a stocking, so they give me honey. Right up until they crack that lid and taste this and be like, oh my God. I guarantee you people be calling you and saying, where did this come from? How do I get more of it? But what a great stocking stuffer. Biggest bang for your buck.
And it's the gift of health.
That
I mean,
too.
what can you do better for anybody that you're not giving them something that's really beneficial to them as well? So,
Yeah.
those are yeah, that is a great, that is a great point. Um, but again, getting back to, again, towards the end, we can show the honey video if you like.
Yeah.
But what I thought we might do, is that we could show your audience what the beekeepers are experiencing from the pure wave cell to get to the levels of those honey, because some of them are producing way more honey, and so we have some of that. Hopefully, some of those videos, because there's one where they're talking about the production of honey,
Yep.
and then for some of them that are, and we don't apologize, but we sort of let you go through seeing our beekeepers from Kenya because they're talking through Zoom, but it's really interesting to see what's happening with them.
Mhm.
So I thought we'd get into showing you some of that.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's let those roll, Lisa.
Hi, Brent from 4RBs. With all the success we're having this year, we just would love to show you and let you hear from our beekeepers. And a huge shout out to our 1,000 Bee a Month Club members. You are absolutely amazing. Thank you. Take a look at what your support has done and the millions of bees and wild pollinators you have helped to save. We've never thought it would get this big, but what we're very humble and thankful for is all your continued support. And the bees thank you too. We are just so blessed to hear from our customers on how the Pure Wave cell has been changing and helping their lives every day. Just listen to what they have to say.
At the beginning of the season, Terry gave us one of the 4RB cells, and we put that cell right on top of our queen excluder. And what we've noticed is it has just exploded with energy, and the bees have just become stronger and stronger, and we've been opening up the frames, and there's just more and more brood happening. All the frames were full of honey, and this last time, maybe about 2 weeks ago, we opened up the hive and went into each one of the frames, and we started to notice eggs, and there was brooding eggs inside. And I haven't put queen in there. I ordered a queen, anticipating that we were going to have to do an actual split of the white and gray hive, but naturally, we have a queen.
So in this yard that has the discs, they were just overflowing with bees. We ended up splitting almost every hive in this yard. So we made up new hives out of these hives. So it's just amazing that, not only were we able to split every hive in here, but to get a good crop on top of that is rare.
So we have these three have the pure wave cells. What we notice is that the ones with pure wave cells, they're just so much calmer. We didn't have any attack us, and you can feel like they're not anxious. Where the other hives, they tend to be more on guard. These three produce more honey over the course of the summer. They were just working bees. So yeah, they're just a nice treat to work with.
of Oyugis, Wire, Homa Bay County in Kenya. This is a bag from 4Bs that is in the United States. Inside here we have the pure cell, and right behind here we have got the beehives. With the technician with the basic is coming today to insert this pure cell into the beehive box. This is the pure cell that we received, and I thank Nick and team for having sent forth this pure cell to put into my beehive so that we can see to re-energize the bees for more honey production. Thank you so much. After it is inserted, I will keep you updated on how the bees are working, and then I will share the pictures and the videos. Thank you very much. Jacob Tindi. Right over there we have the hives. We'll choose one of them. That is where we will insert this pure wave cell. Thank you so much.
Jacob Tindy's on, and he's actually out of Kenya. How you doing, Jacob?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
How's things going over there?
We are doing great.
Awesome. How's the sales been for you in your area? We haven't talked in a while, so I'm curious how things have been going over there for you.
Yeah, sure. Initially, we bought some beehives after I got the support from my mentor, Robin Alexevich. I also got other beehives from a friend of mine called Heidi Totten. Initially, they were not really working well before I received a cell from Nick. And then when after receiving the pure cell, we inserted in one of the beehives that we had. For the first time in my harvest, I got 10 liters out of that box, which was awesome. I've never gotten that harvest ever since I started doing beekeeping. So I have to say that pure cell is a good gadget. And then the colony in that bee, the population of the bees in that beehive also increased tremendously.
Have you moved it at all in while it's been in that hive?
No, it is still in that hive because I always hire a technician to come do that. I'm not trained in how to do the harvesting and how to handle the hives. So I always hire someone who comes to check in after every 3 months. And then we haven't moved it to another beehive. It is still in that box.
Perfect. If you can share with the group what you use the money from the sale of your honey. You sell it at the free market down there?
Yes, we after harvesting our honey, we process it. We just do a local processing, just using a kind of a web-based cloth or a fabric, and then we put it in a bucket to stay overnight. So the following morning, because we don't have a good machine to do that. After doing these sales, there are some girls I do support and students I support in school. So this one really helped me because I got some money to pay for their school fees.
Hi, greetings from Manitoba. It's a cold, dreary day today. Well, by cold, I mean plus 12. Feels like plus 12, and I just wanted to give an update on my Pure Wave. I originally got it and I set it in one of my weaker hives. It seemed that the queen was struggling to lay, and there wasn't a huge population, so I left my Pure Wave in for a few months, and the queen was laying better, and I witnessed more population, so that was very promising. But then I stumbled upon a hive that had taken shelter in a friend of mine's shed, and so wouldn't you know it, they were excessively aggressive, and I don't think I've ever experienced such angry bees. I eventually got them home after many stings, and I decided to try the Pure Wave in that hive just to see what might happen, and wouldn't you know it, the bees became very kind, very gentle. So, geez, maybe it was that amazing magnet. Maybe they just needed a forever home. I don't know. But regardless, I'm pretty thankful that I even tried that magnet, because so far I've been seeing really good things. Side note, on the original hive that was a bit weaker until I put the magnet in, when I removed the magnet, I did notice that the queen slowed down in laying, and there may be a drop in population in that hive. So I'm gonna have to start thinking of investing in another couple of these pure wave magnets, because I do think that they are beneficial to an apiary. Thank you again for all of your donations. Us beekeepers sure appreciate that.
Okay, we got 2 hives installed the same day with the same kind of package of bees. This is 2 weeks later. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Everything's in the pudding here. This is the one with the pure wave cell inside of it. And this is the one without the pure wave cell inside of it. And we got a little bit of action there. That's about what we normally see around these parts. But lo and behold, this is the pure wave cell.
Okay, today we harvested honey from the hive that we have the magnet in, and I want to show you what we got from it. We got all those jars from it, and let me tell you, we looked in the super, and there wasn't any honey in it. They were working in it, but there wasn't any honey in it. So what we did, we took 4 panels out of the regular hive, and we processed them. And this is what we got just from those 4 panels. Now I have the magnet in there with it, and when I store it, I'm going to store the magnet in there with it so that it energizes my honey.
I got to tell you, this is pretty remarkable. Not just in the effects of what it's having on the bees and the honey. 2 things, obviously. The whole idea of magnetism has been not even suppressed on the planet. It's been eliminated. That's why they destroyed Tesla. That infinite loop of magnetism's energy is infinity. That's where our free energy would come from in one capacity. The gravitational pull of these polar opposites can move things in the quantum field, and by doing that, obviously, something in motion can create energy. That's the first big thing when it comes to the whole theory of magnetism. Second is purification of food, like what you're doing here. Also, is to put these bees in a quantum field where they're obviously back to their normal godly state. Peaceful, happy, workers doing their thing. But the idea that your company is giving these pure wave cells to qualified beekeepers, giving them away to them to help the bee population, is an incredible business model. Like I call it, for me, that's business benevolence. And it's its own self-fulfilling prophecy, in that because there's greater production, you're able to buy the honey from the beekeepers, and that's the only honey I believe that you purchase for your company to then sell to the people. And then, of course, the people are buying their own pure wave cells for their own health benefits, food, cleaning, whatever, buying the honey because it's the best honey they'll ever taste with all the other benefits. And that continues, that commercial activity continues to feed this machine to fight back against what these cabal powers are doing to try to wipe out the bee population. So I think they're forked. I think there's no way now that you've shown what we can do in a quantum field with magnetism changes everything. I mean, look how many decades people have been using magnets for health benefits. There's a company called Nikon or Nikan or something like that. 20, 30 years ago, magnets are a big thing. People are sleeping on mats with magnets in them. But it seems to me like this is a real game changer in more ways than just the bees.
Well, you made some really good points, but think about this. All of the diagnostic sophisticated equipment we use, MRIs and all that, they all have magnets. They have magnets in them. That's in all the electric cars, it's all magnets. So it's magnets like are in our lives all over, but what they're not talking about. So for just quickly on that. So now, way back when you and I were kids, Scott, they used to do exploratory surgery to find out what was wrong with you. Well, they use physics to do that now because they do MRIs and CAT scans and so forth. But as soon as they treat you, they go right back to chemicals. So they go right back into drugs and stuff like so. Well, so if you're treating to find out what's going on with you, then the next step is there's all kinds of healing properties in physics, right? Because that's where so that's what we're really talking about with magnets. Magnets are now diagnosing people with all kinds of illnesses and problems. But now what the pure wave cells. So remember when some of the beekeepers were saying, well, the hives were really agitated and they were really aggressive, and then they calmed down. Well, we're no different. We're all aggressive and all in our hives and all whacked out the same reason the bees are. So we need to calm down. Well, that's part of that environment to be in, to calm down, right? And get out of, this chaos that the bees and us all are in, right? So that's number one. But back to I loved so Nick in the video he handles all of our bee program and getting it out to the beekeepers, and that's where Nick is. But I love Jacob when he was saying it's a good gadget, that, I mean, because and we had to put subtitles because even though he's speaking English, it's really hard to understand him, right? But now you can see through all of the beekeepers we showed you, and Lisa can bring up a map. We're all over the world now, and it's only getting started. We're in parts of Europe, we're in Africa. Yeah, here we go. So we're in Canada, the States. So when these beekeepers are talking to you, they're coming from all different spots. Australia, they're in different environments, and they're all getting the same results. So it doesn't matter whether you're in Kenya or you're in Canada or you're in Texas or you're in Illinois. That's why we wanted to show you different beekeepers. It's not isolated to one area. And what people are looking at right now is what they supported. It's because of them that we've got this. And this year we want to explode out that it's everywhere, because there's lots of places. We're not down in South America a lot yet. We've got a lot more places to go. And now we have, thanks to our group, we have a format where all the beekeepers come together once a month. They share their stories. We're doing this. What are the things they need? Because it's more than just the magnets. We have food sources. We provide them with money for seeding in their area. What seeds and food sources? All purchase higher end queens so that when they're replacing, because they're going to lose queens anyway, just as a die off of age and stuff. So we want to support them on higher and more immune beekeeping. So we pay for that as well. It's not just one thing to be able to get this done, but eventually we'll be able to spread it out. And then ecologically, people are starting to freeze land and help us with that and areas. And so we can really make a difference.
You must be having a lot of fun watching this roll out like this.
I am. It was incredibly difficult in the beginning because everything is that
Everything
first.
is.
And then going through the research, Scott, and all that kind of thing, and looking for the results so people can trust it. And I was very hesitant, 3 or 4 years to get into it because I knew that at this stage it would be a lot. It'd be a lot of work, it'd be a lot of stuff. But now, as you just said, now it's starting to be where I'm getting that joy back, seeing it roll out, seeing people that I've never met, that I never maybe will meet, some of these beekeepers and people all over the world that are talking about something that we started with back, and that's so gratifying because you and I have just met over the last month or so, and now you're talking about benefits of something that I was looking at 4 years ago. So that is very gratifying to me, I must say.
Well, hats off to you because I learned in your last episode you were in the telecom business, I believe, and you sold your company, and if I remember right, and many people when they have a big business win where that you finish the game early and sell a company and have your own fortune. Unlike many people, you went into a direction to use your money for the benefit of humanity, which obviously, saving the bees is. So being willing to be that kind of a person, how can I give back to the planet, give back to humanity, and creating, obviously a new job for yourself. I mean, you sell a company, you're kind of retired, like, whew, glad that's over with. But then
Yeah.
you dive in head first, probably in excess of a full-time job, doing your research, your own passion, and what got my attention is quantum physics is my secondary Bible, so to speak. So you're talking about the quantum realm. And I think this is a great lesson for people to understand why I'm always talking about quantum physics being the Christ consciousness. That when Christ was here, how was Christ able to elevate his spiritual frequency so high that you can literally walk on water? It's a matter of quantum physics, hands-on healing, manifesting things. It all comes from that state of consciousness, which affects this quantum bowl of soup that we're in. It's like taking a tie rod, putting it in a body of water, and hitting it with a hammer. Everything and every fish can feel that vibration, even if it's across the lake.
Yeah.
That's kind of the space we're in, and you're using these frequencies that are driven by the magnetic field to course correct cells in every living being, probably even the plants too, get them back to that state of its own perfect vibration, because of all this disruption, the radio waves, the frequencies, the harmful. What people don't realize is even chemicals in the environment, lumen, whatever. Everything has a vibrational frequency, and that vibrational frequency can be disruptive to any other living organisms around. And when you like people don't realize, when you're putting a drug in your body, you're putting in synthetic chemical compounds that cause the cells to behave in a certain way, because cells communicate with frequency. A drug of a certain type, or even a medicinal plant, you're eating the plant, you think it's the leaf or the root that's doing it. It's not. It's a vibrational frequency of the cells in that part of a plant that, again, are forcing your own cells to course correct, tune itself up, and behave the way they should, which is in a perfectly healthy state. So when you're looking at the quantum realm, it becomes very interesting, and to me, and I'm sure other people. But the idea that you created a model whereby that is activating we the people, the planet, the humans, to help themselves by helping the bees, because now with the structure of your company, revenues that are coming in, instead of buying airplanes and yachts and jets and shit, you're using that money to finance or fund giving these cells to other beekeepers around the world, and it becomes a self-fulfilling. What comes to my mind is a printing press, because we're talking in terms of money, but it's not a self-fulfilling printing press. It's a self-fulfilling nature balancing operation to get us to more of a healthy state. Very, very, very intriguing model.
Well, well said. And and maybe you've noticed this. I've never, in my experience, talked to anybody, either in business or personally, that when they've achieved past where their needs are met, they've achieved it and they've gone on to have uh, great success or great financial success. The unique ones have figured out at that point that if all you're going to do is serve yourself with more things, or more benefits to yourself, you'll find that energy turns real quickly where that doesn't work, because what happens is, really, in this case, selfishly, I'm getting tremendous joy from what everybody what this is doing. So it's giving huge back to me, but it's not giving me in that reward of what it used to be. It's a reward of what's happening out there. It's beyond me. So it's not about me, it's beyond me. And that's given me more purpose. And it's purpose that is the situation, right? Purpose is what separates people, is that the people that have purpose and are looking for purpose or don't have it. But for me, no matter what, money's not the thing, it's the purpose. What am I? And that is where the joys come from. And you'll find that most people, or whether it be millionaire, billionaires, or whatever, they figure it out that giving back is where that's at, is that's for their own benefit, right? So that pretty much is across the board to whoever figures that out. And then it gets back out to we make changes and go through the, whatever the exercise or pain, because you have to go through a lot if you want to achieve something whether it's musical, art, science, you have to go through the steps, and it's not, and nature doesn't reveal its secrets easily. You have to go looking for them, and you have to dig it out. But man, once you get into that, it is fabulous, and it's really brought a lot of purpose for me and everybody that's with us, and we're getting started to do it. And I really am, again, so incredibly grateful that people have really responded for us, right?
Yeah. So I also, folks, am grateful that you discovered what I discovered. Those of you who participated, and you kind of nailed it, Brent. And I said this in the past. We have this idea of people getting things for free, not working for them. This whole socialism model. And one of the things I had said in the last couple of years, there is a form of socialism, I believe, where, for example, universal income, things like that. Like that would just make people lazy. They wouldn't want to work anymore. All those things. I don't buy into that. I once did because they programmed us to believe that BS. But
Yeah.
the reality is, like you said, when your needs are met, and your needs may be huge, like your dreams, your visions, the material things in a material world may be massive. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. And let's say you have those. It's like anything else. A new motorcycle, after a while, it's just my motorcycle. A new car, after a while, it's just, that's just my truck. A jet, yeah, my new jet, after a while, it's like, nah, it's just my jet. Everything loses its luster in the material.
Yes.
Inevitably and eventually, what never does is your impact on another human. And that's why that's the discovery that's going to be the discovery of this century as we make this transition, where people come to realize there's nothing. In fact, this is what people found out when this whole Great Awakening happened. And of course, this subject matter we're on right now, that's part of the Great Awakening. What they're doing to us, what they're doing to the bees, what they mean to the planet. And also, it's a step in that direction again, where we're looking for building a track of business benevolence, business to make money, to do well, to survive, whatever that is. But there's a way to do it to where it's benevolent to everybody involved. Again, the whole, every aspect of it expands. Where in the world of capitalism, and I'm a capitalist, but where there's winners and losers, that where you buy a stock and it goes way up, everybody gets the attention on that stock. They go in and buy it. You're selling at a profit, eventually collapses, crashes based on the system. So typical day trading, whatever it is, it seems like somebody has to, in that model, has to lose. But when it comes from a spirit of benevolence, because I want to help the world, everybody's winning, and it keeps expanding in
Right.
your success and vibration and pure joy and happiness. But the reality is, I guess my main point is, people have discovered this in the last 5 years when we all started coming together at Patriot events around the country, Patriot Street Fighter events for me, Reawaken America tour, a number of things that brought people out. And what I watched was people finally are coming together for a common interest, and it's for the good of the country, whether it's for that or the planet. What changed people's lives, and I saw this, by the hundreds of thousands, people coming together at these events, meeting each other, walking away. They have something in common, and they're doing something for the country, right? Outside of themselves. But they have these relationships. They walk away with phone numbers. They have new friends. They're aligning with their true tribe on the planet. My point of bringing people coming together to work for a common cause, it gets them engaging with other humans of the same vibrational capacity, which energizes them. So when they leave an event or a venue where they're connecting with other people for the good of not just themselves, but everybody in the country or whatever, I know because we get thousands of emails, text messages, calls. That was such an awesome event you guys put on. It was incredible. And they got new friends, their vibrations higher. And what is that stating? It's all the interaction of human on human contact and doing things for the benefit of outside of yourself is what seems to be the greater reward that people are starting to discover in this new quantum realm of this Christ consciousness elevated on the planet. So it becomes self-fulfilling, that business, the benevolence mindset that you have creating this. So it feeds itself. The energy, the machine feeds itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's feeding itself on the vibrational capacity of the human being. in spiritual form. That's what I like
Such
about your
good
business
points.
model. Yeah, that's what I
No,
like.
really good points. And well said. I remember I was reading this motivational kind of book. It was a sales motivational, but it also had some other connotations. And one thing stuck out in there that you get this one thing. It was an epiphany, and John, I think it's John Peters, but I'll find if you need to know. And what the statement was, he said, so there's things that people contribute, and then there's people who commit. So when when you're going to want to go out and do something out there, you have to commit. You can't be a little bit in or a little bit out. If you're going to do these things, you commit, right? And he said it's kind of like, the American breakfast, right? You got bacon and eggs. The chickens contributed, but the pig committed, right? So that really stuck with me. That's exactly right, right? Is that the commitment is a lot more. There's a lot more to it than contributing. And then if you commit, people will come in and contribute, and then you can really get something done, and that's, and that always stuck with me, that if I'm going to do something and you commit, well, that's, you put you put it in, and the joy comes back like there is nothing like it. There's nothing like it when you start to get something where it's moving, or what you're talking about, or changes. It's the best feeling, and it's the best energy you can possibly get.
Yeah. Well, folks, if you'd like to feel that energy, participate, obviously, you can go to the website. It's down below in the description box. It's our link. There is a code. Of course, you can see you get a discount. I believe it's a 20% discount with that code PSF. I can't
Yes, correct.
remember. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
For
So
your
use the link in the description box there for that code to get that discount. Supports us as well, as all of you know, but mainly, more importantly, is supporting this whole mission with the bees. It's something that kind of captivates you. And Mike and Tracy, Joe, same thing. It's like when you really look at this subject and think about how important these little creatures are to the survival of all of us on the planet, you kind of want to get behind them, because they got everything's working against them, and they're quietly suffering and being wiped out. And now here there's something in the world that's saying, hey, you guys, little guys, are important, and we're going to come and we're throwing you a lifeline, or we're bringing a firewall, and that's at 4B's, the Pure Wave technology. So it's great to see again. We'll continue to revisit this conversation and keep a track of how this expansion is happening with your company, and bring you in. We'll just continue to show what we're doing with you guys in terms of supporting it, but also to get re-energized, to see how we got another warfare platform. I never thought bees could be a warfare platform at Patriot Street Fighter, but we got one. We're distributing technology to go up against these dark powers, trying to wipe out these little critters. So thank you very much for coming on again, Brent. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you look down in the description box, click the link on, use a PSF code for 20%. You have got, if you want a Pure Wave cell for yourself, your own benefit, purifying your food, great.
Really good,
Grab one of those. Certainly the honey is an automatic. Once you try the honey, you're not going to be able to do without it. You can't buy honey in the store. Once you eat this stuff, you're like, I can't eat that stuff anymore. It's good. I mean, honey's honey. Regular beehive honey is honey too. I mean, it's good depending on the flowers they're pollinating. But when you try this, with your energizing process and the cream process, there's nothing like it. Anyways, much love to you guys over there for what you're doing. Going to wish you a great Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you coming around early next year. We'll come back on and get an update.
You betcha. Look forward to it.
All right. Thanks much, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Brent and myself, that's a wrap. Patriot Street Fighter out.